Hey guys, my name's Bethany and welcome to the video. Today we are going to be doing a little bit more with the zoo that we started last week. And if you missed that video, I'll definitely link it down in the description. We spent time making this front entrance to the zoo and then our flamingo exhibit, which only makes sense as flamingos definitely are in the front of zoos a lot. But we are just going to be moving the toilet to the right because whenever I designed this, I didn't really think about where the pathway was going to head on when we leave this area. So I'm moving it over so we have more room, so we don't have like a weird slanty diagonal walkway. And just while we're doing that, I just will warn you, this video is going to be a lot of landscaping in the first 10 minutes. Like, we're going to landscape the hell out of this area. So sorry in advance, but it will end eventually. Just hang with me. We're going to be doing some gorillas here in just a little while. And I think it's I was very proud of it at the time. And then I built for next week's episode and for a couple more, I've already built a couple more exhibits, but for like orangutans and stuff. But I thought it was really cool, and it is, but it's pretty mediocre. It looks pretty much like a gorilla habitat you'd like find in any zoo, which is fine and everything. It's just not really what I was going for. So I do still think it ends up pretty cool though. And I thought maybe I would start putting some African elements in here. I wanted to put like a coffee shop and some other sort of shop right up here up front so that people can grab their coffee when they walk in. I didn't want like a full-on restaurant area right here at the front. I wanted them to have to walk a little bit. So we're just going to put a coffee shop, and I thought maybe I'd start with the African since right behind where we're trying to put that is going to be Africa. We're going to head off that way. But I just decided we're going to go more neutral, more of that New World theme right up here for our coffee shop. And I'm on the struggle bus trying to place these things at a good direction, because my pathway is on an angle, so it didn't really want to place very well, but we figured it out in the end. And we're just going to make like a little seating area here so you can sit and enjoy your coffee and some little umbrellas and whatever. And while we're doing that, I did see on someone else's video that was building a flamingo habitat. I just wanted to mention, in case nobody knows, like I did mention last week, I worked in a zoo for about 5 years, and we had a flamingo exhibit, and they were mentioning in that video that I watched that it was pretty sad and a little disappointing that the flamingos don't get to eat just solely like the fish or the shrimp and krill that they usually get to eat. They have to eat like the pellets that come in the little tray. You can't just put it in the water, their food. But if you think about it, what we did, at least at our zoo, is it's very expensive to buy shrimp and krill. At least for the seafood that we bought at our zoo, it was all restaurant grade seafood. So if we were giving fish to like our sea lions or whatever, it was the same quality fish you would be eating in a restaurant. So that gets pretty expensive. And of course, we still want them to have all of their nutrition and such a large amount of shrimp and krill to keep them getting all of their calories and nutrients and that protein, beta carotene in that makes them that pinky orange color that our American or Caribbean flamingos would get pretty expensive. So what you do is you get a medium to small amount of the shrimp and krill to feed once a day or every other day, and then they get the rest of their nutrition from a pellet, which has basically all the vitamins and minerals and calories they're going to need to finish off their diet. And it's not quite so expensive, but they still do really love the pellet. Don't get me wrong, they'll run towards it. They are pretty funny whenever they're getting fed. They can see you, or the keeper, I guess, walking up with their bucket of food all the way from the other side of their habitat, and they all get excited and squawk and run together, and then they get very excited, and they still put the pellets by the water, so you're getting that natural feel, but they save a little money that way, and the flamingos are still getting exactly what they need. So just bringing that back around, it's actually pretty accurate what they do in the game. They have that enrichment feeder that has the shrimp and krill in the water, and then they have the pellets in the black tubs. So if anybody happens to care or listen to that, that's that. This little area, like I said, is a whole bunch of landscaping, but I think it actually turns out pretty cool. It turns out kind of what you would see in a zoo, I think. We're in an area that's landscaped, and we've got these little topiaries, which I think are really cute, especially the little hedgehog. And I think what really seals the deal is in just a little while we will be using the mulch tool, which I think is really cool. It looks awesome. So I'm just putting some flowers around there, and we're going to get this area all fixed up. And I'm just kind of placing those on there willy-nilly because honestly, it doesn't matter what it looks like. If it's a little bit bumpy, hey, that's mulch. So it's not supposed to be 100% smooth to the ground or anything. So we're just going to be placing all that, getting it all nice and even. And we've only got a few more minutes of landscaping. Hold on with me here. We're putting some of that there, and we're going to head on down here and make sure everything looks nice. I didn't miss any holes. And then I'm going to move the topiaries up. So the ones that are sinking, the smaller ones, will be moved up and you can see them a little bit better. I don't think landscaping is 100% my strong suit. Like I think I'm getting better as we go. A lot of these things that I'm going to be doing, it's amazing how much better I think that I am after doing 2 or 3 more rounds of building. So the upcoming video should be better. So if you're wavering and you're hanging in there, please watch the next ones. I think they'll be better. But we're gonna go over here and I'm gonna try and make these look a little fancier. We've got some music speakers. I'm gonna put a little bit of lights on them. I'm just looking for literally any decoration that's gonna make them look more interesting, but I couldn't find too much. I'm sure that's just because I'm not like the best builder either. But we're gonna get there. I'm getting better. So I found that little piece there, and then we're gonna be going through. I'm looking for something to put there at the end. And you know how in a lot of zoos they have like the bronze or metal statues that people take pictures by? That's kind of what I was going for there. So we've got a stag down there at the end, and I landscaped it so it made it look a little bit better, or I will be here. All right, so we put our bronze bear down and we're moving him around. And I'll kind of tell you the plan of what we're about to do with the gorillas. So in my head, I wanted to build like a large building that the apes surround it kind of in a pie quadrant. I may have mentioned that last video, but essentially whenever you'd first walk in, to your right, the gorillas would have an inside area and outside area, and I just couldn't really make that work. We'll see me try and work on that a little bit more in the next video, but it just didn't work out. So we're just gonna have a very large raised boardwalk, and then we're gonna move around kind of the circle. We'll be doing gorillas, orangutans, and then bonobos and chimps in our little circle. So I think it turns out pretty well. The orangutans were definitely my favorite, which will be the next episode. All right, moving on to one final place of landscaping. I swear, we are literally almost done, less than a minute. And we're gonna put a lot of greenery. I tried not to put a whole lot of color so your eye wouldn't be drawn to it too much, but I just wanted it to look finished. And then I wasn't doing very much behind our little restaurants because back in that area, we're gonna head off to Africa. So that is the area we're gonna expand towards Africa. And you'll see in here in just a moment, right behind the flamingos is where we expand to apes. And then on the other side of our front entrance, that's where we'll go towards Asia. And then sprinkled in around the back, we'll have all the rest of our animal groups. I do want to do some sort of like herpetarium, which has like the reptiles and amphibians and things like that in there, like some sort of cave or a building, something like that. I think it'll look really cool. We're putting in the last of our little bushes and flowers here. We're almost done. Okay, we're gonna move on back here. I'm making my pathway for the gorillas. And we're gonna come around here. I started out making it a little bit smaller, and we're gonna expand the gorilla habitat a little bit, and then even after today and in another episode I do expand it even a little bit more, because we only had 3 adult gorillas in there, and it said they had plenty of space, but they kept getting social need hits. So their social kept saying that they didn't have enough room, and no matter how many climbing areas I put in there, even though the space requirement said it was good, and the height requirement said that they were fine, they kept having social needs where they didn't have enough room apparently to get away from each other. So we do expand that just a little bit by probably 300 square meters or something like that in the next episode, or the one after that, I don't remember. But it ends up fine. They end up happy. They're happy at this point too. But we're gonna be just expanding that a little. After, I'm so bad at judging how big something actually is until I really look at the meters whenever you put the gate on. So it's all fine. And then what we're gonna do here is, I learned this from a YouTuber that I watched, just a couple of his videos doing Planet Zoo. Best in Slot, I think is his name. And he was explaining that even though the wood fence doesn't curve automatically, or doesn't have a feature to curve whenever you're using it, you can put glass or something that does curve it down, and then you can replace that with the wood and it still works, which I think is kind of silly, but whatever. And the goal here was to make the moat around the edge here and then build up the middle. So we do put some water in it. It acts as a natural barrier, and it's pretty useful. They don't seem to be able to get out yet. A little bit of foreshadowing, but whatever. We're gonna be doing that, and I have a lot of fun playing with the terrain tools. I think it's a little hard to figure out how to do it at first, but after a while you kind of get used to it, and I think you can do some really cool stuff. So that's part of what we do in the orangutan habitat is pretty happy with, is the terrain and the modified versions of that, and I think it looks cool. So we're just going to be making sure that they have a climb-proof barrier on top, which looks fine. We kind of sunk the fence down into the earth a little bit too, so you can't see it too much, but it still functions as a fence. Gonna be deepening our little moat here so we can get some water in it. There we go. I think that looks pretty decent, and they get a great view of it from up top. And then here you're gonna see me struggle for quite a while trying to figure out why I can't fill the holes. And we do finally figure it out, that I have to remove the water and then manipulate the terrain, and it'll be just fine. But it took me a minute of being very frustrated as to why on earth it's not letting me do it. And that's just for the keepers to be able to get in and out, of course. And for just a little bit, I guess I'll put some music on. We'll watch the rest of the time lapse and we'll come on back. Okay, we've gone on over to the flamingos because one of them is apparently diseased. And at this point, I didn't realize that I didn't have a water filter active over here. So we are fixing that. So that the flamingos will be all right, but then somehow in the next episode it disappears again. It's a mystery. I'm unsure where it disappears from, but I don't think we ever figure out that mystery. Maybe someone will notice and tell me, but anyways, we got that all fixed up, and I'm just building the little keeper area here and behind some walls. Realize it isn't big enough and move that back, and then we'll put in just a keeper hut and a staff room, as well as our little workshop and water filtration. So we're going to move that around so it's a little bit more friendly. Moving our water in power. And it took me forever to figure out how to get the pathways to clip right in there. So I cut that out to save us all the heartache of watching that. But we figured it out, and we're putting our water bowls in here. I'm just assigning a new keeper to that area, getting them all set. Then we're going to turn it on and see how happy they are. We just got a new gorilla in there, so I'm making sure everyone's happy, and they are. So we have a male and 2 females, which is, I think, the requirements. And then I'm still getting issues with my flamingos, like I said, so a couple of them were diseased, so we took them and got them all fixed up and brought them back, and then some of them are still hungry, and that's a big struggle as well. So we were trying to look in there and see if we can see the flamingos, but alas, no. Looks like they needed more climbing area, so we just gave them that. And I can't ever seem to get enough, like, for the flat ground where it all makes sense, but we figured that out. I'm just putting some donation boxes down, of course our viewing screens and educational speakers and benches, which a lot of the people seem to be complaining that they're tired by the time they get over here, but no one likes to use the benches, so I don't understand. I don't know if that's just like a bug or an issue, but they're saying they're tired, but they won't sit down. So we're getting everyone over there. I'm trying to make sure everyone likes it. They can see the gorillas. We're not having any issues. And I came over to the flamingo because it was having a baby. And then I'm trying to figure out why we can't feed them. In the end, I do take away their enrichment feeder, which makes them slightly less happy, but it at least gets them fed, because the keeper won't feed them in their regular food bowls unless that enrichment feeder is gone, because they think, oh, they have food, but then most of the flamingos won't eat out of their enrichment feeder. So I don't get it. We eventually take it out. Finally going to get the food for said flamingos. And all the flamingos are still saying they're hungry, but I'm just watching them, moving them. Finally, we're getting some food. And then that food that's in the black bowl is gone within like 2 seconds until the flamingos rush over here and eat it. And then they all go back to being hungry again. So we figure that out a little bit later. But this is pretty much the end, guys. This is our new area. I'm just taking some screenshots. So I really hope you liked this episode and this video. Please give the video a like if you do like it, and subscribe for future videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye.